Hello and welcome to New Mexico Day Trips. I'm your host, Shelley Carney.
And I'm your other host, Toby Eunice.
And tonight we're going to be talking about our trip to Santa Rosa, New Mexico, where we visited 3 different sites. And funny thing happened at each of those sites. We saw the same couple, like
Yeah,
followed
we
us
did.
around.
Yeah.
And their little dog too.
They actually helped us at Blue Hole. He actually helped me to get the ROV back out of the water. And he actually dove towards the ROV. I don't think he was doing it on purpose, but he got on the video of the ROV, which you'll see tonight. And then we saw them at the Route 66 Auto Museum. And then we were over at Santa Rosa Lake State Park, and we were out. I was out doing some drone work. Shelley was getting some B-roll, and they kind of drove by and went, "Hi," just so we saw them at all 3 locations. The funny part, I wasn't planning to tell the story until later, was we asked them, what they do, and they said they were traveling Route 66, the Route 66 from Chicago to LA, or is it San Diego? LA, right?
It's in the video.
It's in the video. And so we asked, "Wow, do you have a YouTube channel?" And they said no. And I was really surprised if you're going to go through all that trouble to travel Route 66 and visit these routes along. Santa Rosa is kind of a off the interstate kind of place, right? But they went and visited and saw all the sites and they didn't have a YouTube channel, which kind of surprised me, I guess.
Which is good because then
I guess
we
not
get to
everybody
show
has
it
to have
instead.
a YouTube channel. So let me take care of some housekeeping first. So I got to get the banner up. It's New Mexico Day Trips right there. We would appreciate it if you would please like our video before you leave tonight. Share with your family, your friends, your neighbors, your business associates, the entirety. I would like to get through that thing for as many times as I said. I'd like to get through it once without making a mistake.
Oh, well, good luck with that.
Share it with your family, your friends, your neighbors, your business associates, the entirety of your social network so that we can grow the channel. And finally, if you are not already a subscriber, please click on the subscribe button. And when you see the notifications bell, ring the notifications bell. And that way, every time we start a live stream, you'll be immediately informed and as a result in the know. Because as we know, ladies and gentlemen, there is nothing better in life than being in the know. So I do want to say one other thing, and that is we were very busy when we went to Santa Rosa. The result is we got all the footage for tonight's video, but we got so much footage. This video, although very good, very well organized, doesn't do all the video we collected justice. So over the next, probably through the weekend, I'm going to make 3 separate videos. It's going to be a whole bunch of ASMR music, I guess. 3 separate videos, one on the Blue Hole, because we have both drone footage and ROV footage. One on the Auto Museum, because Shelley shot an amazing amount of B-roll on that baby. And you should see these cars. I'll tell you the story when we get later. And then we're going to do one on Santa Rosa Lake State Park, because they all deserve their own video. It was pretty amazing. It was a good visit for us. We had a lot of fun, and I had a lot of fun. You had a lot of fun, no?
Yeah.
And I didn't wear you out like the last time.
It was okay.
Oh, good. All right. You want to watch video, or do you have other things that you need to say to the folks first?
No, we'll talk about what we're doing this week after.
Okay. All right.
Stay tuned for that.
So I'm going to add this to the stream, and then I'm going to make it grow big. Oh, wait. Shucks. Let me go back. I need to make, oh, damn it. Come over here, mouse.
What are you doing? Oh, I forgot
Clicking
to click
on
the
that
box.
little box right there.
All right.
Okay. Pro tip: be careful sharing screen. I'm a pro, sir.
If you don't see the pro tip, then you forgot to click the box.
Oh, good point. Never thought of it that way, huh? Forgot to click the box. Okay, then we're going to make it full screen. And then we're going to play it. And I'm going to get my arrow out of there.
Take that stop sharing thingy off the screen.
Why does it move over there?
I don't know. Drag it.
Okay, there we go.
Very dramatic. even though swimming season is over, people were still swimming. So this is us driving to Santa Rosa. What's up?
So where are we off to today?
Today we're going to Santa Rosa, New Mexico, home of the Blue Hole, which is a big pond, a very deep one, that we're going to check it out. I've seen the signs along the road before. We have gone through Santa Rosa many times, usually when we were driving to Austin. And I remember that we also drove through, that's where we turn. We turn at Santa Rosa and we go south. To go through Texas, basically.
Texas is a big state.
Texas is humongous.
Yeah.
What else do you want to know?
I want to know what the plan is, except that I probably haven't shared it with you. But what do you believe the plan is?
I believe the plan is to scout. We're going to go look at Santa Rosa and the Blue Hole and see what we like about it, and practice a little bit with the cameras and get some footage. And it's kind of a scouting trip. We're gonna learn more about scouting this week.
Boy Scouting or Girl
impression
Scouting?
of what we're doing.
Yeah, that's a good impression. What I've read about it tells me that it's the home of what New Mexico refers to as the Santa Rosa Blue Hole, which is an 81-foot deep, clear water, spring-fed pond. It's only about 60 feet across, but we want to use that opportunity to try out our ROV in that kind of condition, a more real world condition than the swimming pool that we had it in last week. Also, it's home to an auto museum, the Route 66 Auto Museum. And I think I've been there before because I think it's associated with a family whose name is Russell. And I'd like to visit that. Also, there is
Not
Santa
Russell,
Rosa Lake
Bozo.
State Park, which we may or may not visit, but maybe just take a drive through to see what it's like, because it's supposed to be a well cared for camping facility. And then there are some other ponds that are also spring fed in the area, that some of which are in public lands, some of which are on private lands, but the ones on private lands are open to divers. So I don't know if our ROV qualifies as a diver just yet. We'll see. So that's why we're going. That's what we're going to do, and we're going to enjoy the day.
And how long of a trip is it from where you live to Santa Rosa?
It's, if I remember correctly, it's 132 miles, so it's about a 2-hour drive.
Oh, got there really fast.
I've got to save this recording.
Why?
To make it the video. You have to wait for it to duck.
Oh, well, here we are at the Blue Hole, the Santa Rosa. And it's very nicely turned into like a swimming hole. Very nice one. Well kept, well maintained. There was a guy up in the bucket working on the wires the whole time we were there. A little bit breezy that day. Here you can see what the hole looks like because they did a drawing of it. Kind of tells you that it's like an hourglass.
And if you're going to dive in it with an ROV, make sure you look at that map before you dive. So when we first got there was absolutely nobody there. And we thought it was going to be a good day for the ROV, but all of a sudden people started showing up. Now you got to remember the water temperature is 61 degrees. So
Fahrenheit.
if you're a diver and wearing a wetsuit, the wetsuit insulates you with a layer of water. But these folks were swimming in it without a wetsuit. So kids, lots of kids. At some point, I became the most popular guy in the place because.
Oh, look at you.
So this gentleman wanted to help me get the ROV into the water. He was very
All
kind.
right, here we go. All right, we're going to start our dive. Shelley, are you got video over there?
Yeah.
There we go. Head it down. I'm going to actually go forward just a little bit, so more in the center. I don't want to get too close to those cables. All right, here we go. Head it down. Go ahead, let it out. When it starts, okay, I'm going to move away from that. There's something else down there that.
Oh, that's cool. You're going to go all the way on the bottom?
I think so. We're going to see what we can find in some of these locations here. Come here, baby doll. That's under the water at 60 feet right there.
Can I see? Oh, and you can see.
Yeah, it's very clear.
Oh, no, this is just them.
The camera?
Yeah.
So I'm going to go further down, see what else we can see, okay?
So like in murky water, is it clear or is it?
No, we're murky water. You know, this is perfect because it's perfectly clear water. I can see, way down. But if you put it in murky water, you can barely, you've got to turn the lights on and then you can only see what's in front of the lights. The lights are off right now. But even like if I turn the lights on, you won't be able to tell the difference because the water is so clear.
Oh yeah.
So right there, see the light? Did you see
I
them?
wondered how that would look at the leaves.
So there's the little things in front of the lights. Oops. Oh, sorry.
That is so
And then I'll
cool.
turn the lights off. And you can't see the little tiny white things floating, right? Those lights on. All
So
right.
where have you tried this at? This year? Or?
No, the only place we've tried it is a swimming pool so far. This is like the first real underwater test. All right, you ready with the tether? We're going to go down again.
Ain't that cool?
Oh, that's the bottom, it looks like. See, we're on the bottom.
Oh. Or maybe it's like, you got to go more to the
There's
side.
a couple clips that keep knocking down. That's neat though.
I don't see any fish. You see any fish?
There's fishes over there. Yeah.
Oh, they're closer to the top. So let's go.
I saw some.
You saw some?
Yeah, really one.
Back up, back up.
Don't go there.
How do you go?
Back up, back up.
How do you go up?
So with this knob, it has strings. So if I want to go up, I just press that and it goes up. Is it coming back towards you?
It's out here now.
Oh, I just got a picture of him.
It's right behind you.
I texted him.
You see it? It's almost at the top. Now it's at the top.
It's what?
It's at the top, spitting.
Oh.
What's this place called?
Route 66 Auto Museum.
There it is. Bob's Big Boy. This is the front part where the gift shop is.
They have a very complete gift shop.
I like those benches that look like car backs or something.
Like
Trunk
the
of a
buck-
car.
yeah, the back part of the car. So we don't have time, unfortunately, to do this justice, but as I said earlier, we'll be making a video of this all by itself to put it.
That was a pretty amazing basket
Harley Davidson
woven out of
HD.
reeds to a motorcycle shape.
So every car in this museum is restored and customized beautifully. So they don't do just restorations, they do customizations as well. And they are all done. So there was a woman there, and she said that all the work was done by her husband and his garage. They have a garage in Santa Rosa called Bozo's, and he does all the work. And they fund themselves by selling the vehicles. A lot of the vehicles, as you can see, have signs on them as to what they would cost if you wanted to buy them. The Cadillacs, I noticed, were restored rather than customized. There were several vehicles that were kind of restored to pristine condition. He had other things as well, as bicycles and scooters. I don't know if you remember the old, what's the name of that brand? It's an American brand. I'll think of it before the day
A
is over.
scooter or
The scooter, yeah, Cushman. I owned one way back when I was doing newspapers. So this is one of the examples of a custom. It's a '55 Chevy with a Corvette LS3 engine inside of it. So it would really rock and roll if you were to take it out on the street. There were several like that, but as I said, there were several that were just restored to original condition. And it really depended on the vehicle. You could almost tell the custom ones. This one's, I recognize this because my Aunt Katie owned one, the convertible. It's a Pontiac. So all kinds of different work, and it's all done by the same garage. They're expensive. The most expensive one I saw was the Bronco that you'll see, a completely restored original Bronco with a 302 engine in it. Love the color on this. This is a Buick. This was one of my favorites. I can't say, I keep wanting to say there's lots of favorites. A favorite. This is a 49 Ford Woody with a 5.0 liter Cobra engine in it, Ford Cobra from the Mustang series. This is a Chrysler Hemi inside of a work truck. And this is the Ford that I was talking about. It's a Ford Bronco, original 1964 Ford Bronco. And it had if I remember correctly, 302 and a 3-speed standard transmission, 125 thou. But you could see that it's just amazingly not only restored, but customized, you can imagine. So this is the route that couple was taking. We saw them here as well. When you heard the person yelling in the background as somebody dove into the water, that was his wife, his significant other.
in the Santa Rosa Lake is quite low. I don't know if that's a yearly thing. We were talking to a woman at the car museum, and it sounded like it was a yearly thing, but I don't know. It could just be because of the drought. What do you think?
I think it's a combination. I think it is down yearly after or during the when they're using it for agricultural purposes, but this was down lower than normal. The other interesting thing about this particular reservoir, it's one of the reservoirs that is managed by the Army Corps of Engineers, and you'll see a lot of that there. It is a very nicely maintained facility. Camping areas, very complete camping areas. The water is very, very brown. And I thought it was lower than it would be even in a good year. But the interesting thing about this particular reservoir is that it is fed by the Pecos River. All the other reservoirs that we've been to, oh, that's not true. We were on the Rio Chama. So we've been to reservoirs on the Rio Chama, the Rio Grande, which is Elephant Butte, and now one on the Pecos. But when you look at the camping facilities, very nice camping facilities with a lot of nice restrooms, not just what do they call the boxes? What do they call this? Porta potties.
Mm-hmm.
They have buildings, restroom buildings. So it's a beautiful, nice facility.
It's a state park.
It's a state park, right, but managed by the Corps of Engineers.
All right, that was our day in Santa Rosa, New Mexico. It's a great place to visit, especially if you like swimming in cold water or looking at old cars or going to the lake. They have lots to do here in Santa Rosa, and it's only 2 hours from Albuquerque, so it's a great day trip. If you just want to go one place, probably more than just if you want to go to every place. But yeah, do that. Santa Rosa. Any questions?
We won't make you watch the outro because that's for the.
Any questions?
Oops, I did this to take that out. Yeah. So it for a small town off the beaten track, meaning it's not exactly you have to get off the interstate.
But it is on Route 66.
It is on Route 66, right? The original Route 66, and you saw it, as a matter of fact, in that last shot that Shelley took at the Auto Museum. As you followed the map, one of the highlights on the map in New Mexico was Santa Rosa, Albuquerque, Gallup. Right. Or the ones in New Mexico. But what's interesting about it, so the first thing that you notice about it is the amount of water in various ponds, lakes, streams, I guess you could call them that. But they have they have a really good water playground thing going on. It was closed for the season, but it was better than anything I've seen, for example, in Albuquerque. And it's all this spring-fed water, and it's crystal clear. I mean, you saw it with our ROV shots, that it's just literally crystal clear. Now it's cold because it is spring-fed. I guess it heats up in the summer a little bit, but they do have diving classes on Saturday. So if your plan is to go do an ROV or get in the water, avoid Saturdays because the scuba companies bring their classes to do their, one of the things that you have to do is a certified deep dive. And you have to be down there for long enough to build up enough nitrogen. Those cables that you saw were actually cables that give them the opportunity to stop on their way back up at the top to exchange oxygen for nitrogen, get the nitrogen on the bodies so they don't get the bends. So it's very busy. There's actually a dive store on site inside the convention center, but that was closed as well. The convention center is where you buy the tickets or you get a wristband. And it's $10 per car per day. So it doesn't make any difference how many people you have in the car. But when I went to ask about it, they said it was all free because it was, I guess it's only during the season. I guess the season starts on Memorial Day and ends on Labor Day. So you can still go. And, if you're okay for a short swim in 61-degree water.
Or just go put your foot in it.
Yeah.
But it does have signs up that says do not put your pets in there, and there's no lifeguard on duty. If you have small children, they ask you not to have kids in there with who cannot swim. If they, if they need floaties or something, then they don't want you to have them in there just because it's dangerous. But there were small children in there, and they were wearing life jackets, basically.
PFDs, yeah. The family the husband that helped me get in the water, the wife that was asking a lot of questions, and the little girl that had me bending over the whole time. She kept saying, "I can't see, I can't see." So I'd have to bend down so she could see it. They had like the little girl, and I think there were two of her brothers. But the one of the brothers who was smaller had a life preserver and a PFD on, and she had a PFD on, the little girl. And they got in the water. They wouldn't stay very long because it was cold. I noticed that at some point, when it's real cold, the kids, because there's no body fat, their teeth starts chattering.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how they were. But it's a beautiful pond. And I didn't include the footage, but a block away there are two other ponds that are reserved for children's fishing, or it's children and senior citizens under 12 and over 65. And then a little bit further is the park. Now, we didn't get to try them, but there are 3 other lakes/ponds. I don't know how size they are, that are used by divers because of their clear water facilities. So honestly, Santa Rosa has more clear water of any city that I know of in New Mexico. So that's the first thing. The second thing, when we went to the auto museum, I did confuse it. I did confuse it with the Russell Auto Museum, which is right off I-25. I think the Russell family have,
No, it's in Glen Rio.
Oh, it's not on I-40?
It's close. It was like another hour away towards the border, but it's in a town called Glen Rio.
Right. So
You said I-25.
That's what I was going to say. The Russell family have put up their facilities, which are basically truck stops with auto museums at I-25 North, I-25 South, I-40 West, and I-40 East. So one of the things that auto guys do, car junkies do, is they visit all 4. I guess we're going to have to do that. You can't do it in a day trip.
No.
Each one is its own day trip. But they have the truck stop, they have the convenience store, they have a restaurant, and then in the back is a museum. I don't remember they're charging for the museum, but he does the same thing. I mean, he did. He was old when I first came back to New Mexico, because I ran into his eldest son, who was close to my age. And he said that his father was still alive. And I said, I asked him if anybody was taking over the auto detailing, restoration business. And he said that he thought his brother was going to get serious about it at some point, but he didn't sound convinced. So the autos that they have in each one of those locations may be the last of their kind in terms of the Russells. And he didn't have for sale signs. It was his collection. It was kind of like, what's his name? The late night host. I forgot.
Jay Leno.
Jay Leno. He has his collection, and it doesn't go to anybody else. I imagine now, whoever inherits his stuff. Does he have a family?
I don't know.
Well, somebody's going to inherit. I should write him and say it.
I don't keep track of Jay Leno.
Be happy to take it every year. I guess not. So there's that, and then the last part of the trip was to the Santa Rosa Lake State Park, and as we said, it's operated by the Corps of Engineers, U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, on behalf of the state of New Mexico. It's a beautiful facility. Everything is just well cared for. There's this one, as you go to the top, you saw us drive up to that one parking lot. What is that? What would you call that building?
Well, it's kind of a visitor center, but really it's just a couple, it's the bathrooms, and then you can climb up to the second floor and walk around the top there and take pictures.
It's stuff. Like one of those viewing areas, but they put a building up instead of just putting a brick wall. They put an entire building up, and you can tell they put some money into it. If you look at the way the reservoir is constructed, it's one of those mound reservoirs. It's not a dam per se. Well, it is a dam, but it's not a dam like Hoover Dam that's made from concrete. It's made from earth and rock. And again, I looked at it, and I shot it with a drone, and it looked very well maintained. They had 3 or 4 different camping areas. They had a boat launch, and every one of the camping areas and the boat launch have the enclosed, bathroom buildings. There was one that had showers as well. One of the camping areas had a location that had showers as well. So again, and they were all open. We didn't see anybody there. We didn't see anybody, there servicing it or managing it, but it was all well taken care of. There was no trash
No, there
flying
was
around.
somebody bringing their boat there while we were there.
Yeah, we did
This
see.
was a Monday afternoon. It wasn't supposed to be very busy.
Right.
Monday afternoon in September.
Well, but what I mean is I didn't see anybody responsible for managing it. Like when we went to Abiquiu, which is another, Corps of Engineers facility, there were people there. We were able to
Right.
interview
But they had
them.
like a store and everything. Too.
Right. Yeah. So they didn't. We didn't see anyone
the
there.
museum or
But
whatever.
very well cared for. So, they have maintenance folks coming and taking care of it, and it's open. You can make reservations online if you want a camping area, things like that. So, we just found out that they opened the yurts in Hyde Park. And I tried to get a yurt for a night. They said they opened them and you could make reservations. And I got through the reservation process and I got to the checkout thing and it said system is busy. Try again later. So Shelley and I are going to try and get one of the yurts up in Hyde Park and do a glamping video for you. But they're like you have to make sure it's all perfectly timed because check-in time is 3:00. It's like a hotel. Check-in time is 3:00. Checkout time is 11:00. So
It probably gets kind of cold there at night, but they have heat in the buildings, I guess. in
right,
the
they
yurts.
have propane stoves inside the building. The only thing they ask you not to do inside the building is chop wood, so you don't mess up the floors. Like really, they're wooden floors, so they don't want you. And you're not supposed to cook inside the yurt. You're supposed to cook outside in either your own. There's a picnic table out front, so you bring your own cooking kit, or there's an outside grill. So one of the things we have to remember is to bring our own wood if we're going to do any outside stuff.
All right.
So I'm hoping to do it like in the first week of October before the kids show up.
Yeah, well, we'll see if we can make that happen.
So a little bit of glamping. You do need your own sleeping bag and your own pillows.
Oh, okay. We'll make sure we take care of that.
Yeah.
And this Friday, we're planning to go to the grand opening of the Visitor and Event Center, Route 66, 9 Mile, something like that. What's it called?
It's just called the Route 66 Visitor Center at 9 Mile Hill.
9 Mile Hill.
But the title is Route 66.
And they're going to have a car show and a couple of bands and ribbon cutting and all kinds of stuff going on that day.
Didn't we share a video with everybody? Oh, I guess we haven't done that yet.
No, because that's going to go with the new video.
So we did, let me do this. Can I do this over here? Let me do this over here.
You got to share your Instagram? I saw you had some stuff up on Instagram.
I did. I guess I could do that. That's probably a good way to do it.
So we went to the visitor center on Route 66, 9 Mile. I want to call it 9 Mile Hole, but it's 9 Mile Hill.
Yeah.
And we took the drone and flew the drone over it and got some outside of the building footage. So we wanted to go there before the event so that we could shoot the building without people all over the place. And we accomplished that. We went there Sunday, and we drove down to the end of the road, and it dead ended. And then we were going to go into the parking lot, but it was blocked off. There was a security guard there, so Toby went up and talked to Michael, the security guard. And then what happened?
He said he couldn't let our car in because it was. Well, let me show you what we were dealing with there. So this is the location. This is the Route 66. Let me see. What is it? West Central what?
Visitor center? Yeah.
West Central Route 66 Visitor Center. So that's what it's called. And as you can see around the outside here, it's completely fenced because it's still, this is all under construction. They haven't planted the trees or the shrubbery or anything
On this
just
side.
yet. On this side, yeah, it was more complete on the parking lot side. But it's on the west side, and the west side is the one that looks over Albuquerque. So it's a beautiful view with the Sandias in the background. And we wanted to go get some footage and still images while we could. And Michael, we saw was locked up. We thought we weren't going to be able to get in. So there was a security guard there. So I went and talked to him. And he was a film guy, turned out to be a film guy, part-time security guard, part-time film guy. And I told him what I wanted to do. And he said, "Oh, I fly drones too." And he said, "Why don't we do this? I can't let your truck in, but you and your partner can come in and do all the shooting you want." And basically, he followed Shelley around, right?
Yeah, because you were just standing in one spot doing the drone.
Yeah. So so I did a lot of the drone shots because we felt like on Friday, with all the people around, we're not going to be able to do that. So we thought we'd get the drone footage now while there's nobody around. We also got and we got moving images as well as still images like this so that we can have them. And then what happened with what's his name?
Luis?
Luis, yeah.
Well, Luis is kind of helping out running the event. And I think he's part of one of the bands, or he's a sound guy or something.
Well,
So
he's
he
also
said he could get us in early.
right. He's also part of the West Albuquerque West Chamber of Commerce.
Well, he was. I don't know if he still is.
Oh,
It's been a while. That's been like 5 years ago.
well,
So,
yeah, but if you're a businessman, you don't leave
I
the Chamber of
don't.
Commerce. Anyway, so he started communicating with Shelley. So I don't know, how did he get a hold of you? How did that get started?
Because I was on their Facebook page and
Ah.
I sent them a message through that. And so he was answering my message
Oh,
about
okay.
going there on Friday to take video for the YouTube channel.
So anyway, Shelley convinced him that we're going to go early on Friday. And one of the things that I had discovered was they weren't going to let anybody park in the facility because the car show was going to be taking place there. So we had this vision of having to lug all our equipment from these locations where they were going to bus you. So you went to some parking area, then they would bus you to the location, drop you off, and then you had to wait for a bus to come by again to go back to your car. And Shelley convinced Luis to let us.
Shelley did. No, that was your message.
Oh, yeah, but it was your text thing, so he thinks it's you.
Oh, well. Anyway, we'll see how it goes on Friday.
So we're
Let
going to
you
go
know.
back for the event. It goes from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. We're probably going to go early. Again, I don't expect to launch a drone, but I've already done that. So we'll get a lot of footage of all the things that's going on. And there's going to be a car show. And whenever there's a car show in Albuquerque, it's about the lowriders. So there might be some lowrider activity. There's going to be some lowrider vehicles. There'll be some other custom vehicles, some other restorations, things like that. And then of course there's the visitor center, which has a gallery. It has a viewing area. You can't see it in the shot, but this is an outdoor patio that faces west, which over
like a little amphitheater.
yeah,
And then they have a tap room on the other side.
yeah. So they're going to have a lot of things going on. And we thought it would be a fun event to go to on Friday. And it frees up our weekend. So it was good timing for us. And like I said, we wanted to go get the footage early, and we did. We had a good time with that. So we will have that on
Hopefully we'll have good weather.
next
Friday.
week's. Friday is supposed to everybody's saying we're going to have good weather through the week, and we're going to have scattered showers over the weekend. So so this is the weekend the balloon fiesta starts. Isn't that right?
Saturday, yes.
Yeah.
That's
So
right.
so
right.
there's a point at which you have so Lorraine asks, why don't you tell her that story?
Our Carlsbad Caverns Far, they are at the very southeastern corner of New Mexico, and we're like almost to the north part of the center. So yeah, it's about a 4-hour drive down there.
No, it's a little bit longer.
Longer.
It's not a day trip.
Yeah.
We are going to make it down there because we have a list of the top 10 things that you want to do while you're in New Mexico, and Carlsbad Caverns is one of them. But it's not a day trip. So we'd have to take a day down.
If we do the caverns, it's a good half day.
Yeah. So the way that you do it is you drive down in the afternoon, get a hotel, get up early, do the caverns in the morning, and then drive back in the afternoon.
With
It's
very
a-
sore legs, what I remember, because you're
There's a lot of
walking
going down.
down. You're doing that the whole time, walking down a ramp kind of a thing.
Well, yeah, but you can take the elevator. There's an elevator.
Well, then you miss the whole caverns.
No, the big show is down at the bottom.
Well, no, because they have a tour that takes you.
Well, it's a 4-hour tour. The whole tour is 4 hours.
Oh, I don't think it was that long.
No,
No, I don't remember it being that long. I think.
but you can take
like
the
an
elevator
hour.
back up.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, we want to do that. We want to do White Sands, and we wanted to do, what was the other one down there?
The array.
Oh, the VLA. It's not that far. VLA is at Socorro. Just Socorro, and you turn right about 30 miles.
Roswell.
Roswell when they have their alien fiesta.
They have a bottomless lake in Roswell.
Oh, they do have.
And there was that other thing you wanted
I can
to see,
tell
the
my-
Jornado Muerto. or-
Jornado del Muerto,
Yeah.
the Journey of the Dead. So there's this real cool story associated with. Let me get that out of the way. John, the Florida kids are on the East Coast now. There are, I'm sure, East Coast, hurricanes that they suffer through. But I spoke with her last night, and their forecast is that this hurricane is going to go north of them, so they'll get rain, but they won't get the winds that everybody's experiencing or the storm surge. So they're fine. They're on Boca Raton, which is on the eastern Florida coast, as opposed to where it is right now. So yes, they are safe. Thank you for asking. But the storm track is headed as it gets through Florida. It's going to make a left turn into Georgia and South Carolina. So I got my kids in Charleston that I'm going to have to worry about. So who knows? It makes you think about whether you want to live in Florida. I keep saying to myself, I'm going to move to Florida, and then you see hurricane season every year, and
it gets worse and worse.
and it gets
every
worse
year.
and worse every year. So anyway, there's this interesting story of what you'll hear it called by two names. One is the Royal Road, and the other is the Jornada del Muerto. And it was the road that the Spanish took from Mexico up to Santa Fe. And the Jornada del Muerto, the Royal Road, but there's a section called the Jornada del Muerto that went through the Chihuahua, the Chihuahua Desert. The Chihuahua Desert actually starts in Mexico and ends in New Mexico. And it's hot and dry, and you're not near enough to the Rio Grande to be able to use the water. And so people died. That's why they call it the Journey of the Dead. But back in 2000, and I'm going to say 5, people got money together and they convinced the state of New Mexico to establish a visitor center on the Jornada del Muerto. And I think the only thing they did wrong was they put it so far off the beaten track. It was a beautiful museum. They put a lot of money into it. It had these beautiful displays and these beautiful dioramas and all these things explaining all of this. And do you need the mouse?
I'm just going to take the comment off.
Oh, okay. So they put this facility up, and it literally got zero in the way of interest because it was so far off the interstate. So you remember when Shelley and I went a couple of weeks ago, we went to the Apache del Bosque del Apache Wildlife Refuge. That's kind of off the beaten track, but people go there because you're going to see lots of birds. This was on the same side. It's in the same area, but it's another 10 miles further. So it was totally off the beaten track. I don't even know if it's on the Jornada. I don't even know if it's on the Royal Road. That's what I'm trying to find out. Anyway, it survived till 2016. In 2015, New Mexico had a tax crisis because of the price of petroleum products, the price of fuel. So our tax base fell. It was one of the first places to be cut. And they couldn't keep it up. They had all these interested friends of the visitor center. And what was that?
I think it was somebody's horn outside.
Oh, friends of the visitor center. And they couldn't collect enough money. They tried a GoFundMe campaign. They tried a Kickstarter campaign, and they just couldn't collect it. So they closed the facility. Now, I haven't seen it. I don't know what's happened to it. I don't know if it's being abused by vandals or what. But I would like to accomplish two things. Number one, I'd like to go see the facility, shoot some footage. If I don't imagine you can get in anymore, but I'd like to see if they've kept it up at least so that it hasn't been vandalized. But I'd also like to find someone, and I got a lot of names of members of the Friends of this visitor center, and I'm hoping they can show us a location that's accessible. I have a 4-wheel drive truck, so it doesn't have to be, I mean, I can get to it one way or the other, so that we can walk along this Jornada del Muerto, maybe take a metal detector and see if we can find any artifacts from there. It's all on BLM land now. That area down there where it's at, it's BLM land. So BLM is pretty liberal when it comes to artifacts. You don't have to turn them all in unless they're buried 12 inches below the ground, something like that. They have a strange rule, but I've never managed to cross BLM when it comes to this. So I'm interested in doing that. I think that's kind of I was hoping that would be the next adventure, but our glamping yurt might be the next one, depending
Before
on
it
whether
gets
or not
cold. Too cold.
yeah, you don't want to, well, it's heated on the inside.
I know, but
Come on.
it snows up there. We don't want to wait till it snows.
No, we definitely don't. Well,
And then people are going to go up there for skiing, and then it'll get busy.
and they're going to get busy. But the nice thing about having the ski basin up there is they keep that road cleared.
Yeah, but it's just cold. I'd rather go out when you
One
can wander around
night.
in the forest and.
One night.
But there's the day that goes with it, and there's something to do if you can wander.
Well,
around the
it's going
forest.
it's going to be cold because it's going down to 48 tonight here in Albuquerque, in Bernalillo.
Mhm.
So that means it's probably 10 or 12 degrees colder up there already.
Yeah,
So,
but during the day when the sun's up, it's warm enough to go outside.
well, it's
Cook
not
your
like
food because you
it's
can't
not-
cook in the yurt apparently.
it's not like you can fish that what's that stream up there? A little tiny stream that goes through Hyde Park.
And
Tasuki.
Oh,
How could you forget that?
uh,
Finn named his dog
I
after
thought
the
it was named after your mom, not Finn's dog. I
the
was going to
Espinosa.
say Angelique.
Oh, Angelina Creek.
Anyway,
So those are kind of the plans. Now, I think I've already said this, but I'll say it again just to make sure. And that is, we covered 3 different locations in this trip to Santa Rosa that you saw in the video. So this video is going to get the voiceover that we just did added to it, and it'll go up there. But I felt like each of these locations deserve their own individual video. B, YouTube likes it when we upload videos. And C, I don't think we have to do a voiceover. I think they stand on their own. You don't have to do a lot of voiceover other than the titling, to where you are with the location. So over the next several days, I'll be putting up those videos. No, the first one I'll put up tonight after Shelley goes home. But the other ones I will put up over the weekend. Like I said, we're gonna be busy. We got shows tomorrow. We'll be busy on Fridays, so maybe Saturday and Sunday I'll work on them and get them up. So you can because you need to see the whole ROV video is probably, it was in the water for 14 minutes. It does everything it was supposed to do. The failure in this particular case was pilot error because I didn't study the maps. I didn't look at them, and there were shelves that I kept, as I was coming up, I was bumping into. So, but it worked, and it worked beautifully, and it flies in the water just like a drone flies in the air. The controls are just exactly the same thing. It's like we were made to be with one another, is how I describe it.
meant to be.
Meant to be.
All right.
All right,
That's all we
guys.
have for today.
That is all we have
If
for
there's
today.
anything you would like us to investigate in New Mexico, please write to us and let us know. We're interested if you are.
And if you ever find yourself in New Mexico for any reason and you want to do a day trip with us, let us know. We'll do a day trip together. We can do that.
All right.
Because we're free to do whatever we want.
Freedom.
We're free. All right, let me get rid of the banana and go to brain, and we're going to do outro right after you say your good nights.
Good night, everybody. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you again next time.
We look forward to it, guys. Thanks for joining us. We love you.